We have all heard of the one and only Shinchi42, but today we will get to know him like never before. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms kind of gameplay episode from your very own Chappy Gaming. And today we have a very special guest, Shinchi42. Say hello.
What's up, guys? What's up, rockers?
So I am thrilled to have Shinchi on our content creator interview series. It is such a privilege to have you. Thank you for coming out. And for all of my viewers, if you haven't already, do go check out his channel. I'll link that up on the top right side of your screen. And if you're just visiting, be sure to hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right hand corner, right where Shinchi is right now.
Yep. Make sure to like and subscribe on Chappy Gaming.
Thank you. So Shinchi, the first question I have for you is unscripted. Where did the 42 come from?
It's kind of random, but not so random. Initially, my name is started with, number 23 because of Michael Jordan. And then I went to 21 because of, it's an anime called Ice Shield 21. It's a football anime. And then I was running out of number. And I thought about my brother's favorite number was 24. So I was like, let me just flip this. It actually sounded pretty good. And I got pretty lucky when I was like 15 when I was playing games with that Shinchi42. So I just kept that name basically.
Oh man, that's a pretty good story, I think.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself. Who are you, Shinchi? What is your life story?
Well, I'm born and raised in the Philippines with a single mom, and grew up with 3 older brothers. I'm the 4th youngest. Basically, we moved to the USA, and how do we get there? We progressed until I got started with the gaming, right?
Yes.
I mean, I played games growing up, pretty much like playing Dota, pretty much MOBA games, and a lot of shooter games. I played strategy RTS, which is Ikariam, which is a web base, and I think that was the only one. I've done tactical RTS like StarCraft, Warcraft, Red Alert, Command and Conquer, but nothing like Rise of Kingdoms. Basically, how I kind of led into finding Rise of Kingdoms, I think it was through ads. I think it was through ads. I couldn't remember how, and basically, there was nobody making contents at that time. In Rise of Kingdoms, I think there was only like one guy, Red Ruka, which is pretty funny. Because I made video a long time ago, and then he made a video, and then he was like trying to like call me out for something, and then he was actually wrong.
Oh man,
some issue happened. He was being very, very bad, very toxic, and I kind of reported it a long time ago to. I never told this story actually. You're the only one who knows.
Oh man, it's an
channel.
Exclusive.
So I kind of like talked to Discord for asking. I was like, hey, why is this guy being really toxic? This was Rise of Kingdoms very new, okay? There was no drag and drop yet. There was no markers yet. Very, very new.
Oh man.
So it started in Kingdom 14. And really, the biggest thing is that there were certain people, key roles of people, that motivated me to keep doing what I do in the very early stage. There's Dark Zephyr, there's Jetblade, to keep doing contents. But basically, I grew up playing games. In the Philippines, there's this, thing like computer shops. It's not very common here in America, but there's computer shops in the Philippines. And after school, me and my friends will typically go to a computer shop, play games. And sometimes, I grew up, I had tutors. So I would either skip tutor, play games. Yeah, those are some of the background story of how I, got into gaming, basically.
That's awesome. So you've been a gamer forever, much like me. I love that. And so is Rise of Kingdoms your only game right now that you're playing, or do you have other things that you play on the side?
Well, we are technically sponsored, right, by Rise of Kingdoms, and as well as Infinite Galaxy, and then eventually we'll have. We haven't really signed the contract yet, so the next thing will be Uno Mobile. So that would be the next one. So we'll have 3 games that we're going to be consistently working on to promote and play. And I do play other games. Recently, I downloaded Marvel Snap, I play some random games as well from time to time. My best friend from college gave me a Nintendo Switch, so I play that once in a while. Got a Mario Kart there, and I'm getting some fitness stuff there as well.
There you
But yeah,
go. See,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I swear, everyone's playing other games too. I love it. So you
Yeah, I mean,
said,
just one game, man. It's hard just to play one game.
oh, totally. And it
Yeah,
also, if you're in the off season and you're just farming, hey,
yeah.
gotta find other things. So you mentioned that you thought you found Rise of Kingdoms through ads. What really got you hooked? What got you started?
I think the battle mechanics, the gameplay. First of all, I think that's what got me into it because there's no connection yet. Eventually, you build up, and I learned how to use Discord. And I've met typically in the early stages of game, there's a lot of Filipinos right away. And I met Filipino leaders, and we've got along. We would talk on voice chat, and that kind of got me to where like, oh, this is actually very interesting. That is a different level of gaming, especially with Discord.
Yeah.
And basically, right, the beginning is the mechanics, and then I joined a random alliance. It's called IMM Immortals in K14, and then eventually my Russian leader left, and since I complained a lot during the beginning stages, and he gave me the leadership basically, so I led the alliance, and then I had to deal with other leaders, and then like I said, through Discord, and that kind of like blew my mind how interesting the game is because it's not just gaming itself, but there's a lot of social aspect to it. And I think what really kept me in the early stages is really the community, because eventually I would eventually lose my alliance in 14. I would have left. I played 25 with the beast modes because my high school friends plays there. He invited me, and eventually I left because I was playing free to play and I couldn't catch up with them because they were spending. So I started K41, led an alliance as a very, very low spender with my. This is actually very interesting. I don't know if you know the story yet, but I played with me, my brother, my cousin-in-law. We were all officers, and we led the alliance. It was really nice. Um, Basically, we got into Kingsland, and sorry, not Kings. No, Zig. Wait, Zone 3, not Kingsland. Getting confused.
I know
Zone
it's
3.
all the same.
It's called
The Lost
confusing, yeah.
Temple Zone 3, I
Yeah.
guess, right?
Zone 3, yeah, Lost Temple. Because it's so long, we don't talk about Lost Temple anymore. We got LT with the Chinese Alliance, which is 666. And basically, I end up getting the kingship because of all diplomacy and all working together. But eventually, we got betrayed. I've tried to fight for the free to play because there were free to plays that they were getting bullied by a certain alliance, and I stand up for it. And basically, I lost because I wasn't a huge spender at that time. So, but that's kind of
There you
what things
go.
are.
So we're gonna do the next question in kind of two orders, right? And so the first
Sure.
is, who is your favorite YouTuber in general? Doesn't need to be Rise of Kingdoms. I think general is probably better for someone who's as large as you in the Rise of Kingdoms community.
In general, I am a guy who loves to watch food reviews, vlogs. One of the reasons why my content is a little bit different. Very rare, I'll be honest, and again, I don't say this a lot. Very rare that I know I do YouTube gaming. Very rare that I get stuck on, you know, gamers that they play games. I typically like to watch vlog style. That's why my content is like that. So my favorite is two, Strictly Dumpling and Best Ever Food Review Show. So I'm a foodie, so I love it.
Oh,
You know,
same. Did you hear that
yeah.
Drago is thinking of actually doing cooking videos now that he's stepping away?
No, I have not. I think that will be good, especially he has some fan base already. That will be really good for him to do like cooking video. I think that's good. I mean, getting into the life, yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's actually a really cool take. So, slightly different question. You started Rise of Kingdoms. Did you start YouTubing with Rise of Kingdoms, or what really got you started on the whole YouTubing thing?
Well, kind of No, not unexpected. But I was actually doing YouTube long before Rise of Kingdoms. So I started a channel called OKS Chef, Honest Product Review. I think those two I started, then I eventually started making Rise of Kingdoms video. Actually, this current channel that I have, the Shinchi42, is actually my personal YouTube account that I upload personal videos, which I had to delete to create this channel. So I had like years of videos in here that I had to delete. What my first one of my first channel with this OKS Chef, which is about me cooking. Actually, one of the videos there got 30,000 views, and I did not realize that it got views. So when I got back to it after 2 years, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know I got so many views, but I didn't continue it, so it never really got traction. But Rise of Kingdoms, I eventually, become a YouTuber here, is initially creating the initial guides for Rise of Kingdoms, overview of the game, gameplay, battle, tutorials, and one of the key moments was creating the alliance guide that I did part 1 and part 2, which caught Lilith's attention to where like, hey, can you also write a strategic guide for the forum? Because back then there's a forum. I don't know if you've seen the forum.
I think I have.
Yeah, so I have a guide there for like whole basic guide that I typed out, color code and everything. I worked so hard for that one.
Oh man.
Yeah, so basically there was a competition after that for the content creator program that they're doing, and they actually told me about it. So say, hey, you should apply for this and do this. So I said, okay, I'll do it. Eventually we won the first batch. It was me, Echo Gaming, and then Legend Roni, who is Roni's not sponsored now.
Oh, he's not.
He's not, and as well as Echo is not anymore. Echo doesn't make Rise of Kingdoms games anymore. So there was so many batches that was sponsored creators before, our community partner, but there's only a few now that are currently still. So basically that's how I kind of get started, because of the competition that they did, and it allowed me to keep on motivated to keep on going as well.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. See, these are the stories that no one actually knows about. They're just like, oh yeah,
nobody asks.
I see Shinchi42, I see Chiskel, but no one's like, where did these guys come from? So it's cool to hear this stuff. So you were one of the OG Rise of Kingdoms YouTubers. You mentioned that I think you said no one else was really making content at the time.
It was Red Ruka. If you search Red Ruka, you could probably see his channel still. I think Silent, I forgot his name, Silent something. But I started before him, I believe, and he made videos after I did. And then I think Roni came next, and then Echo, and then Spooby, and then I think Gecko, Chiscool, kind of along that timeline.
Wow. That's nuts. So what did you kind of carve out as your niche? I know a lot of the time for Rise of Kingdoms content, it's guides. We all make guides. Guides for this, guides for that. But what really got your viewers engaged?
You know what? I've been meaning to ask the viewers about it too. Because I do so many crazy stuff in the game. I initially started as a guide, and then I was also the first one to kind of pioneer in the game, showing the reality of the game, to where when my alliance got betrayed, I showed that in the game, in YouTube, and that kind of blew how people think about the game, I think, because no one was really making contents about how people are getting betrayed, all the diplomacy, all the backstabbing. I don't really know what kept the viewers, or what attracted the viewers. It's either the guides or either the craziness that I do. I've done Benjamin videos, which I think you have seen some of the spending. Nobody was doing the Benjamin as well until I started it. I'm not gonna name a fellow creator, but there was a fellow creator who messaged me before the creator started doing the video of spending as well. He has asked me like, hey, is that actually worth doing? Like,
right, does it pay off? That's a lot of money.
Yeah, like I said, so far it's not bad getting the views, getting subscribers. I mean, you're spending already, why not just record what you're doing?
Right.
I mean, it's part of the work anyway. So yeah, so we pioneered that. There's a lot of new things, a lot of stuff that I kind of got started, and people didn't start doing as well. But yeah, those are some of the things that I can think of right now.
Oh my goodness. So I'm scrolling through here and I'm seeing a bunch of other games, Mobile Legends. I'm way back
Oh
here.
yeah, bunch of different stuff. I've done horror games. Actually, one of my most views is a reaction video.
So
I caught me by surprise.
Yeah, so you've got a bunch of other games. I even see a Call of Duty video here. My viewers.
Yeah, but those are not so successful because the niche is mobile game.
Right.
Rise of Kingdoms strategy.
So, do you think you're going to be covering other games on your channels? You mentioned you have a couple of sponsorships, but covering sponsored content's a little bit different from like this is going to be a major staple in the content.
Yes. So the agreement is to create contents in the main channel. Of course, we're getting compensated because what happens when you do YouTube is that your algorithm kind of fights for it. Your algorithm fights, and viewers go less as well. But with sponsorship, it allows you to be more flexible to do things. But I really like the idea of the Uno because there are huge YouTubers or Twitch streamers that are actually part of that community, and it allows us to be able to get some exposure, meet them as well. Basically, it gives us more opportunity to expand the network, because in life it's all about networking as well,
right?
Meeting friends, and who you meet, who you never know, right? Who's going to help you, or who you become friends with.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch some of these other videos coming. I think part of the whole YouTube thing is the games that you play, but I also think that part of it is just like who the creator is and their personality and what they bring to whatever they're doing.
I think the personality is definitely the biggest thing, but within the YouTube algorithm, I mean, your personality doesn't matter in YouTube algorithm. It's the content, what people are searching. But people follow you because of who you are. I think that's what I think.
Well, let us know in the comment section below, y'all. Why do you watch our stuff?
Yeah, why do you guys watch our stuff? Yeah, I don't know either.
That's awesome. So we've gotten to learn a little bit about you. I'm sure a lot of the viewers are Rise of Kingdoms folks. So let's pivot over to Rise of Kingdoms. What do you consider yourself in game? Are you rally lead, field player, whale, low spender, free to play? I know it's changed slightly over time.
Yeah, it's changed dramatically. So I used to spend a lot more than I had. So back then, I really did a lot of work. I was rallying and defending. It was a lot of fun. If I can go back to that situation, I would 100%. But right now, I'm more of a free-to-play approach. But I still spend for the monthly gem. I still spend for the crystals, $5 for the crystal.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe a low spender, but I don't go overboard on spending anymore.
I hear you. So
I do a lot of field fights. I ran out of resources, and then sometimes I don't know what to do.
So selfish question. I used to play Rally and Garrison too, and then they introduced equipment, and then they introduced Crystal Tech. Which of those blew it for you?
I think I stopped after the equipments. I slowed down a lot after equipments. There's a few things, of course, to understand, right? It's not just about, well, it is about money. As you guys know, I think it's been disclosed already that content creators for Rise of Kingdoms are compensated by Rise of Kingdoms, right? Because of all the whole debacle back then with the whole issue. Now they've announced that they're compensating us. So with that, in the first beginning of that, I said, you know what? I'm going to reinvest what I get paid back to the game to where I can grow the channel, which we did. But then some part of it, I realized I'm not gaining. I mean, yeah, we're gaining the subscribers, we're gaining revenue from YouTube, but I felt like, I could probably do more other things with the compensation that I get. So instead, I try to focus it to my life, investment, and kind of going out and kind of splurging, treating myself, and just for myself basically and for my family.
I hear that. Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
think it's very easy to get caught up in spending in the game, and
Oh yeah.
I've
Yeah,
heard
yeah, yeah.
some people who like will go through at the end of the year and add it all up and just be absolutely disgusted with how much they've spent.
Yeah, you get to spend so quickly. I mean, it depends, right? So when I used to spend, I try to tell that you need to spend wisely as well, and be careful, right? Because if you're not in the level of, like, let's say Baba, right? If you're not in the level of business wise or income wise with that, you're gonna you're not going to what's gonna happen. Sorry, what's gonna happen is like your budget for your life is gonna change. Your lifestyle is gonna change if you spend if you
Right.
spend too much. Yeah, so
Yeah, there are
I'm
people.
being real here, because that's the reality
No,
of anything you do, you overspend. Everything's going to be difficult for your situation. It's not just about Rise of Kingdoms. It depending on what your hobby is. If you overspend on your hobby, then you're gonna struggle.
yeah, I think it's worth calling out. I mean, in game we see goldies, right? We see goldies in silver chests, and we don't think about it, but there are definitely people who probably are spending more than they should.
Oh yeah, I've met the guy a long time ago, and he was a whale, but he was just as working as a not a high end level chef, but more like a sous chef level. I don't think they get paid so much, but he was like, "Oh, this is my hobby. I put everything here." But at the end of the day, it's their own money. They can do whatever they want. It's their hobby. So everybody has their own different approaches, and depends on what age you are. If you're at a certain age and you're making quite a good amount of money, then maybe it's okay for you to spend and waste it. But if you're getting older, like I am, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but when you're getting older a little bit, you become a little bit more conservative
Yeah,
each year, I guess.
especially
Yeah,
if you're starting to like try and build a life, build a family, move somewhere, buy
yeah.
property. Yeah, it's I hear you.
Hmm.
So, what kingdoms have you been in? I managed to find our thread here. I have it up of when you and
Mm.
I first met. You were in Slap, and
Mm.
this was in January of 2021 that we messaged.
Oh wow,
So talk about a
long
long
time
time
ago.
ago. Which kingdoms have you been in?
So I started with 1253. We'll just kind of give you a little funny backstory here. Um, that's when I met Bunny in 1254, and he was like wanting to join me because he was like having trouble within his kingdom, and he eventually started burning everybody, and then he started winning. Anyway, I lost 1253, and I moved to 12228, and then stayed there for a little bit with my group. Moved to 1382, which where we met, and then now in 1412, which I grabbed puddle cakes with me. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I saw puddle cakes earlier when I was clicking through. So why the
yeah.
move from 1382 to 1412? Seems like a big jump.
There was a lot of people leaving 1382 already. The whole leadership team is also is breaking apart. There were some relationship with me, like real life relationship. The leader.
I remember it was
Yeah,
Red Kitty Mew and
and
the other Mew.
South.
Yes, and South.
South. So they actually met in person. They had some issue, which I'm not gonna talk about, but basically they fell apart, and that kind of started causing more issue within the game. But basically, the biggest thing of the migration is Tika sending me a message out of the blue, and I actually rejected a lot of migration offer. I've rejected 1412 before. Dollar invited me. Um, but when Tika reached out to me, he called me, so we spoke on the phone, and he was like, "Hey Shinchi, you're 1382. You guys are keep on losing in 1382. It's not really good content for you. Why don't you give it a try to here in 1412? Here in 1412, we're much stronger." So I said, "Okay, I'm gonna think about it." And then I said, "Okay." I think I talked to Padoke. Hey, I'm thinking about 1412. Seems like a good kingdom. Basically, we decided that we're gonna migrate. My deal was if I go, they need to take puddle cakes with me, which they did, and we had a spot in 412A. And then eventually after that, um, during the process, Tika messaged me and said, "Hey, are you cool? We also invited Baba. He said, "Are you cool if Baba comes in?" I said it's okay as long as he's cool with it too. I'm cool with it, and then that's pretty much how we met in 1412 as well. Because
Oh,
a lot of
wow.
people were saying, that I followed Baba. It's just not the case. I was invited first, and they invited Baba as well, and then they told me, it's like, okay, it's all right,
Yeah.
It was a good opportunity actually. I enjoyed playing with Baba. Actually, it was nice.
Well, Rise of Kingdoms is such a small world. I mean, another creator I interviewed in this was Gaines Gaming, and I'll link that video on the top right side of the screen for folks to go check that out now. And Gaines is in a different kingdom right now, and he and I have spoken a bunch of times. And lo and behold, where is he coming? 1079. And so it's just a small world.
You guys are gonna meet.
That's right. So we're gonna meet, and we were enemies at one point in KVK. So it's a small world. All the big kingdoms.
See, enemies today can be friends tomorrow. But here's the thing. Here's what I always say, or at least try to say, when I was streaming last time, is that this is pretty small community. Sometimes we're opponents. Sometimes there's a little bit of an altercation here and there. But at the end of the day, what the game we play, it's like a brotherhood. Because it's almost like a fraternity in my mindset, because you don't really see a whole lot of players playing this game. It's a very niche game. So hypothetically, you see somebody random outside, see him playing Rise of Kingdoms. I'll be very freaking excited to see somebody, and I'll probably approach that person. I'm like, hey, what kingdom are you? Like, I'll talk to that person if I see somebody playing Rise of Kingdoms.
I've never seen anyone play Rise of Kingdoms in the real world.
Me either. I have never seen. Which I'm saying is that, even though we're enemies, we have to everybody within the game has to be friends. I know there's a lot of what is that called? Like
Animosity.
bad anonymosity. Yeah, that's the word. Even amongst content creators, there's a lot of anonymosity. And at the end of the day, this is my only wish, that one day, everybody hopefully will realize that we're all in one community and we all have to support each other, because without that, then the game is not gonna, survive.
That's
in
true.
My opinion.
So for those of my viewers and yours that are new to Rise of Kingdoms, we've all made mistakes. I came out with a video, I don't know, 3-4 days ago now. For those that are watching a month from now, I'll link it. Of 15 things not to do in Rise of Kingdoms. I'm sure you have one like it. OmniArc had one like it. But what was your biggest rookie mistake when you first started playing?
Oh my God, I don't know. There's so many. There's few ones that I made videos of. Here's another thing that I do, is like some other content creators will cut their mistakes and don't show their imperfection, which is something that I've done, which kind of caught to where like people called me out as well, which is fine because I knew they were going to. But I think by thinking on top of my head, the biggest mistake that I published that time was, I think, buying the Hannibal Barca VIP that has the Books of Covenant.
Okay.
I maxed out my castle without buying it, and I bought it eventually anyway.
Oh,
no. Yeah. I remember I was rushing that day. I remember this. I just got off work. I was in a parking lot. I needed to boost power because it was an event to win. So I just like spent gems and then maxed it out to 25 without buying the bundle, which I could have afforded at that time. But I didn't, I think that's the biggest mistake.
Oh man, that's a bad one. On the bright side, you can sell the books back now, but you can't get the money back.
No. That was bad. I mean, yeah, that was bad.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
So
can you sell the books?
I think you can.
I don't think you can. Where do you sell it?
Can you not? Am I wrong? I know you can sell the arrows. I just figured.
Yeah, yes, you can.
Yeah,
wait, did they just add that?
I think.
I'm looking at my screen. I see it now.
Drum roll. Yes, you can sell the books.
I feel like in the beginning they did not add the books.
I have no idea. At the beginning, you couldn't trade anything, which was terrible.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, honestly, there's no value. I mean, all these stuff is no value. We have nothing in our shop to buy. I'm sitting with like 12 million right now of credits, and I haven't sold anything yet.
Oh
I'll
man.
probably have like 50, 60 million
Well, I
of
always tell people
credits.
the only things that are really worth buying in there are passports, civ changes, and VIP points.
Yeah, we don't have any of that in 1412. It's
Hoarding
literally,
for forts.
yeah, it's literally your credits are literally useless.
So you mentioned that you used to be Rally and Garrison. Obviously, that's since changed. But do you have like a favorite troop type in Civ? Like, what's your go-to?
Well, as many people know, we are, mostly Archer setup, Archer gang. I would say my favorite right now is a Minotaur, and I really like infantry too, with Guan Yu, and right now I maxed out Scipio as well, so you can see my gear. But we mainly did, Archer setup. For Civilization, I have Ottoman Empire because we are Archer setup, which I like. I mean, I generally just like the buff of the Ottoman Empire that it gives.
Oh yeah.
So basically, I have 3 marches of Archer, 1 march of Cabs, 1 march of Infantry because it's bloody expensive, to deal with the same resources for all 5 marches. So that's one of the reasons why I do it. And it might not be the strongest, but, I mean, it's better than having a really weak, 4th and 5th march of an archer as well. In the gear.
You could field Edward. I see you have Edward max.
Yeah, I've done field Edward, but now since there's a lot more archers now, he is pretty much replaced now with with the current situation.
Thankfully.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I like Edward. Like with my Edward, KVK 2, I ran rallies with.
Oh yeah.
So I have 29 million kills. I can send this to you actually with Edward. I don't know how many players have 29 million kills on an Edward.
Probably not very many at this point.
Yeah. So.
Oh man. So what is your current 5 march setup, and then what's your like favorite go-to march in general?
My 5 march setup is we've got a Minotaur Boudica, which I'm gonna replace. I need to make Boudica primary eventually. Ramses YSG, Guan Yu Scipio, Artemisia Tamiris, and Alexander and Minamoto. So I think my favorite is, of course, the Minotaur Boudica, and because all my gears are right there, and I like how it's performing.
Wow, no Nevsky in that lineup.
No, there is 5th one, Nevsky and Minamoto.
Ah, okay. See, I knew he had to be hiding in there somewhere. So, what is your favorite commander? And this can be aesthetics as well as, just using them in game. I think a lot of time people will be like, I like certain commanders because they look good. So let's hear it.
I think for me, overall, I would say YSG because it's one of those, OG, commanders, and I really wanted YSG from the very beginning, and his usage still performs really well at the end here. People still use YSG in the field. So I like the Archer of YSG and the AoE as well.
Oh yeah.
So YSG probably is my most favorite out of all. Probably second is probably Guan Yu. So my YSG actually has 42 million kills.
Oh wow. Mine has like none. But I haven't maxed YSG.
YSG is nice. I like it.
Yeah, I'm saving up heads. I'm cooking for the next release.
I don't know what's your setup?
Right now I am running 2 Cav marches, so I've got Attila Takeda and Nevsky William. And
that's one of the commanders I regret.
Which one?
Attila and Takeda.
Well, they were so good for so long, and then they released Xeno, and it was like game over.
Yeah, I regret not maxing Attila and Takeda.
Even now they're like my cheeseburger march. All of my viewers
they're
know.
still strong.
I consistently zero myself in KVK, and so when I have one march and I'm just, it's Attila Takeda, because they'll swarm it and I'll still win.
Yeah. It's strong. It's strong. I hate it. I hate how strong it is. I complained a lot when it first came out.
I know they patched it.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
I was devastated. I maxed him and they were like, yeah, we're going to nerf him. And I was like, what?
It was too strong. It was just too strong.
So, you've been playing for a long time. I imagine you had probably 3 of the original KVKs, probably 3 KVK2s as well, and at least 2 Light versus Dark. I know I did. What is your favorite KVK format, and why?
Oh my God, it's been so long.
Get that.
I would say maybe. I mean, the game mechanics wise, I think Light and Darkness was nice. It's a little bit more fair, more balanced within like technology and stuff. But the old KVK one was, I think, the best because no huge whales yet that time. I think the only whale that I fought there that time was Sammy.
Really? See, my issue with KVK1 was I didn't have T5 yet. And
I didn't have T5 either.
You did, and it was fine for you?
I was fighting T5 and I was killing them.
There you go. I was dying to them. It was painful.
Because I worked on, I think I had a max legendary at least that time, and I was able to kind of get up to them. I mean, of course, you're not 100% winning, like if it's like toe-to-toe with them, but you have to play a little bit, smart, kind of hit them, get out, and then just hit your skill.
Yep.
But we only faced one T5 that time, and then we eventually, I think, who was that? Oh, that last Swagger. He eventually that's why this is a little bit more fun because of all the drama.
Oh yeah.
And that squad that we had to fight that squad in KVK1, but eventually we won, even though they have migrated a lot of their, a lot of new players that time.
Wow.
So.
Such a small world.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you've been playing forever. I'm sure you love Rise of Kingdoms, or at least I hope you do, because you keep playing it and making videos for it.
Yes. Well, let me put this in this way. I love the community of Rise of Kingdoms. I like the developers. I like the community, the managers. But here's the but. When the battle mechanics is every time the same, like what we're doing now, it gets pretty boring. And I've said this in my video. But with the new coming patches, I'm really excited for the new formation system.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I'm excited for the new formation system. I really like the Desert Conquest, but a lot of people don't like it. Like I said, the battle mechanics is so boring now. It's the same way you fight open field, you rally, you defend, done. There's nothing new for 3 years. I like constantly changing game. I like something something new. Change it up a little bit, spice it up, which is they're doing for this new update. So I like it. I'm excited again for this new update.
I'm nervous. I'm excited, but I'm nervous that it's gonna widen the gap between free to play and big spenders.
That's the biggest thing. Let me tell you this. A lot of people say this, that the game is catered to only whale. But if you really, really look at it hard enough, I want you to take a look when you first started within the game.
Yeah.
Because when I first started in the game, there is literally no freaking way to get legendary commander sculptures.
Yes.
There was no way. There was no way.
It was Kerouac, and that was it.
Before that, there was no Kerouac.
Oh man.
You have to win the events. So the thing that hurts me a lot or annoys me a lot is when all these players say, oh yeah, it's hard, blah, blah, blah. I can't get this, can't get there. Literally, it's not. Because if you are active enough and you pay attention, if you actually look at 12-inch, his contents, he is a free-to-play. He's able to do it because, he does put a lot of time in it. But you do have to put a lot of time in it if you are going to play it as a free-to-play.
Right, without a doubt.
The event and stuff. So it's not hard. It's not that Lilith is giving way for pay to win. They actually have lessened a lot of the gaps of free-to-play and pay to win if you look at it closely.
Yeah.
So with the next update that they're doing, I don't think they're going to create a huge significant gap within pay to win and free to play. But you got to remember this: anytime that Rise of Kingdoms or anytime a game helps a free to play, it also helps spenders if they're active.
Right.
So
that makes sense. So
the spending doesn't change, by the way. I'm telling you this: the spending doesn't change. Did you ever notice any changes on spending? Like, there's really
no. The bundles are the same prices. They haven't really changed. The content's
pretty much the same.
Yeah. So, what do you hope to see come to Rise of Kingdoms?
Well, what do you mean by that?
Like, they're coming out with new changes. There's formations, but I'm sure there are lots of things they can fix or lots of things they could change. In a perfect world, what would you see them change or come out with?
It's hard because I want to complain about resources, but it's also a lack of my activity to farm resources. So I kind of blame myself at the same time, if I'm being honest. I don't know if on top of my head, because for me, I'm pretty contented with what the game has, and I'm excited to see this. Like I said, this formation system. I'm just looking forward for a different battle mechanics. But here's the thing: maybe Rise of Kingdoms can do something to where, like, a little bit of a scrimmage game, to where, like, when you fight against other players in a specific given event timeline, that you actually don't lose resources or speed up, or basically whatever troops you got can go to a specific hospital that can be returned to you fully after the set event.
Like an arc, almost.
Like an arc, almost, but more like a KVK type of thing.
That'd be neat.
Like maybe a 1 week span or something.
That'd be cool, like a prolonged event. That would be cool.
Like a 1 week, like, small mini map and fight each other, and then you get back and then get some rewards, and then without any losses of resources, without any losses of troops, basically.
Very good. Lilith, come find this guy.
No, it's because it's similar to the other game with Infinite Galaxy. So we'll have this thing called it's called ad hoc repair. He'll go to an ad hoc repair. So we'll have a cosmic ocean. We'll have a little mini map, and then we'll fight there without any losses, which is pretty cool.
Huh. Well, Shinchi, that concludes all the questions I had for you. Do you have any closing remarks for the people?
I think just continue to support the fellow content creators here. Of course, here to Shappy Gaming. Thank you for interviewing us here. Hopefully, we've given you some good contents in here as well and good information. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it that I've got here as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Shinchi. I am so grateful for the opportunity to get to interview you, and I hope all the viewers are excited to learn a little bit more about you and feel they know more about you after this interview. I certainly do.
Yeah.
This has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Everyone, if you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right-hand corner. Hit the bell so you get notified when new episodes come out, and go check out Shinchi's channel if you're not already subscribed to him.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. Shappy out.